Welcome students of Form 3 or 4 or 5, because for Form 5 this could be a good recapitulation of the past few 3 years. We're talking about the CXC program. That is what we work with at the Sky. And like I mentioned just a second ago, I work at this school called the Sky with a lot of pleasure. And the topic of this video is what influences voter participation. So what influences voter participation? And with participation is meant actually what makes that voters come out to vote or not. Because during our last election in Curacao, for instance, there was like 65, 69% people came of the total eligible voters, of the total electorate, came out to vote. That does mean that more than 30% of the electorate, of the people that could vote, didn't vote for any party. So the question here is, what makes people go out to vote or not go out to vote? What influences this? What influences their participation? I meant their meaning there as a voter. Yeah. So we're going to talk about that, and the connecting question at page 54, by the way, the connecting learning outcome is as following. At the end of this topic, you will be able to, if you pay attention to this video, describe. So that's the learning verb, the factors, the what, different whats, that influences voter participation, of course, during an election. That's the time when you vote. So which factors, or in other words, what influences voter participation? What makes that people leave their home voluntarily and voluntarily decide to vote for a certain political party, or what decides people not having any interests or consciously deciding, no, I'm not going to vote. So those are the topics of this video. And one very important topic is voter apathy. Apathy meaning a feeling that you actually don't care. In Dutch we say it laat je koud. I don't think we say that in English, leaves you cold, but you don't care about it, so it leaves you cold. Yeah. Bonota senti involvi. You don't feel involved. Bonota senti connection. You don't feel connected. So voter apathy reflects people lack of interests or loss of faith. So it reflects people lack of interest. So interest is what I just said, from like I don't care. So it can reflect that people actually don't care. So they lack falta, falta di, the lack of interest. That's one. But it also could indicate, it also could reflect people's loss of faith in politics, because you have to believe that those people that you vote on are in parliament to do the best for you. That's the whole idea of a democracy. So voter apathy reflects people's lack of interest or lack of faith in politics and government, which removes the motivation, the drive to engage with the process. Yeah? So which removes the motivation to even engage with, okay, who am I going to vote for? You have to go to the voting booth, and you have to really think about for whom you're going to vote, like I just said. You have to put the energy in it, you have to think about it, and this can remove all of the motivation to engage with the process. So the question is, why might this attitude arise? Dikong e attitude aqui, and can anything be done to counteract it? So if somebody is not motivated to go out to vote, the question is, of this piece of text that it drops at the end is, can anything be done to counteract it? if there is a case of voter apathy, like you can see here. So can anything be done to counteract it? Let's continue and perhaps we'll find an answer to this question. If people lack trust and motivation of the functions of government, if people lack trust and faith, yeah, so these three words are really important. Perhaps we'll find out later that's actually not a word, but if people lack trust and faith in or of the functions of government and the role of voter in elections, they may not see the importance of voting. So they may not see the importance of voting. So if people lack trust and faith of in the functions, or knowledge could also be a good one, in the importance of voting, if you don't know, o no tem conhecimento, yeah? So if people lack trust, faith, knowledge, conhecimento of the functions of government and the role of the voter in elections, they may not see the importance of voting. Apathy, so a feeling of I don't care, may also result if they do not feel that their vote will make a difference. So if they do not feel, non nota senti, non votamento, their vote will make a difference, differentia, or they have a low esteem of governments or politicians. So if they don't feel it makes a difference, which it does on our small island, by the way, voting does make a difference. So if you it doesn't make any difference if I vote or not, or if they have a low sense, and I used another word a second ago, but I forgot, a low sense or a low esteem is actually a better word, a low esteem of the people in governments or politicians. So if people lack trust and knowledge of the functions of government and the role of the voter in elections, they may not see the importance of voting. If they do not feel their vote will make a difference, or they have a low esteem or a low sense of government or politicians. So here we have seen described one reason for this voter apathy. Knowledge you're missing, but not having a high esteem, not thinking very highly of the people that you vote into parliament or the politicians that will be selected to enter the government. Also, income plays a role. For income, I believe it's called entrega, so thing you earn. Yeah, like you can see in the picture over here. Whatever you earn a month, and if you even have time in your daily job to think about, okay, who am I going to vote for? Income, in one way or another, has a huge influence on voter motivation and voter connection and voter trust in government and so on. So there is a link between income and if people turn out to vote or not. So surveys, so investigations, interviews, some questionnaires around the world indicate that people's income level, like we see in the picture, can influence their decisions regarding voting or not. So surveys around the world indicate that your income, high income, medium income, low income, is like directly connected with if you vote or not. In some cases, higher incomes are more likely to vote. Yeah, because, for instance, you have a high education, you know better how voting works, you have more time to go voting. So in some cases, this is the case, but not in the Caribbean. In the Caribbean, it's the other way around. It tends to be reversed. If you have a higher income in the Caribbean, then people seem to be less likely to go voting. But this is weird, right? So, the more you earn, the more you're disconnected to the elections in your country. That could have all kinds of reasons. A political party can come to be more associated with either the richer or poorer sections of the society. I give an example. The PAR in Curacao is seen as a Macamba party of the elite, the rich elite, and the MFK is more seen like a party of the UD Curacao and of the locals, and really having attention for the needs of UD Curacao who don't always have a high income. So lower income people see, and UD Curacao people seem to be more likely to vote for MFK. And PAR has more like a European orientated or even literally ethnically European voter fan base connection. Yeah. So you see, a particular political party can be connected to a poorer or richer part in society. It differs per country, but it can be the case. If this happens, the section that sees a party's policies favoring their interests, so the MFK, a lot of local people, UD Curacao people, so okay, this party, this political party is acting, making decisions that are good for me. If the people feel it that way, more people of medium income and lower income are likely to vote for their party because they have the feeling, or perhaps they've seen the last 4 years, that this political party favors their interests. In a rough translation, it does more, that it takes more decisions, it has more policies that benefit them. That means like favoring their interests. Let's continue. We talked about income, and there's a connection with voter motivation. And we've seen that it's actually very important. Yeah, I hope that part was very educational for you, and I hope you, until